Sometimes when we touch, the honesty is too much. I want to hold you till I die. Till we both break down and cry.
I'm gonna hold you until the fear in me subsides. Just so you know, I have pants on, but nothing underneath. I'm gonna swing it loose tonight, because I feel in the groove, in the pocket, if you will. Hey! Live from New York, it's Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. Wow!
Hey there, how are you, New York, and the world at large? That is the thing you have to learn at some point about the World Wide Web, is that it just keeps going, doesn't it? I'm very excited to be doing the show for the second time, only the second time here in the New York City. And the city that never sleeps, by the way, total horseshit. Oh my. We are finishing up the Kevin Smith film, and by we, I mean myself and all of the voices inside my head. Speaking of Kevin Smith, happy birthday to you. And I hope this particular 39 is the last one. Sorry I missed the hockey party yesterday, but as you may know from your vast research, the Jews tend to own the concession at sporting events. First, also, I want to thank the New York crew, who once again did a remarkable job, if in fact the show is still streaming live. If you're smacking your computer and trying to figure out what went wrong, then give one of these to the next couple of names. Andrew Lipson, of course, at the helm, is my... Too much? That's my Captain Kirk, in case you're wondering. When he gets hit by the ray. Yeah, that's what happens when he gets hit by the ray. Gerald Mackey, God bless you and your family. And lastly, I always mispronounce this name, Jesse Barokas. No? Yeah, sure. All right. And of course, Mary Aaron, who did a lovely job making me 2 years younger, and my guest, thankfully, 4 years older. She being of makeup, who I swiped from the motion picture that I'm here finishing, which I will speak to briefly. It's called A Couple of Dicks. Maybe the best title ever. And already there's concern at the studio. I will not mention names, the brothers Warner, over how do you advertise a film like that on television before 9 p.m. And so they're trying to salvage what I think is truly one of the better names ever for a comedy film, A Couple of Dicks. It's about detectives. So I said D-I-C-S in the wording that comes across the screen. So now actually they're trying to salvage it thusly. And I wish them luck with that, because it would just kill me if it were A Couple of Detectives. You know, it's not, it doesn't. Also, I want to thank Alex Miller from Los Angeles, helped to make this particular live stream broadcast possible. He from our LA crew. And at Jamie_Fox, for coming all the way to New York to help with the chat jockeying. All right, maybe she's staying with me, because I love her. Which reminds me, I want to thank Hank Azaria as well as Katie and young Hal, for allowing us to have a roof over our heads while in New York. I want to thank the folks at ITV Fest, or Independent Television Festival, available for your perusing at the itvfest.org. They wanted to Achievement Award, the chat show back in Smell A, the first award of its kind for a streamcast like this, next Wednesday, the 5th day of August. And we told them to go fuck themselves. No. We just weren't available because of the damn shooting schedule, and so our very first opportunity to receive award, us 17 weeks old, and not available. But they're going to do some sort of screening, a clip package of the show, and honor us on the Wednesday the 5th. So I want to thank the folks out there for that particular thing, you knuckleheads. What the hell's the matter with you? Also, as a warning to my guests here today, which I failed to mention until now, I was able to get a guest. I'm so thrilled, actually, because you know how it is. I've mentioned this before. Anytime I can get somebody in a room with me for a conversation who can do things that I could never, I get very, very excited. And in fact, yep.
Why?
Right? Not Conan, is it? As a warning and helpful opportunity for him to participate in this show, because as much as I ask each and every one of my guests to go ahead and glance at the show ahead of time, so very few of them do, and I don't blame them. But as an effort to help them now, I'm going to give I guess it would be an example of the Larry King game, a long-standing tradition, long being in this case 17 weeks again. And Starbucks also for being our unofficial sponsor. God bless you. Walked past 3 of them and then stopped at 1. It might be I don't know. It's just Chris. Why? Why would I bring these and not use them? Chris Sigurdsson, 'cause that's our name. He gets a copy of A Little Off the Top. Is it at Chris Sigurdsson? It might be. Try it, look it up. Because he wrote in the following example of the Larry King game. Remembering the rules, you must do a bad Larry King impression, reveal something about yourself on the air as Larry, as if he were doing the show, and then go to the phones. And when you go to the phones, it helps if the name of the town is funny sounding. We're also going to have we're going to show a little intermission package of a grouping of other folks doing the Larry King game, previous guests, as well as some of you who went ahead and filmed yourselves and then sent it into the YouTube channel, Capo345. Why Capo? Because remember, J-Lo, my hero. Capo345, that's where you'll send those Larry King games should you want to shoot yourself doing that, or just shoot yourself, works for me as well. Okay. All right. And Jamie, don't forget you owe me one. If you want to jot that down and send it over here, I still want to write the one that you hilariously came up with. I want to share that as well. But for now, we'll go with Craig Sigurdsson. All right. When I was a small child, my mother called me Lily. Sheboygan, Wisconsin, hello. All right. That's just a small example. There were others, but that's our winner of the copy of A Little Off the Top, my live stand-up comedy CD, which you can get your own damn self, or in this case, you get it for free. If you go to kevinpollak.net, they cost $175. You know what? I know it's a lot, but if I sell 2, 3 a month, rent covered. Yeah, I think those were the items of which I was going to share pre-interview. Damn it, I think we've covered them all. That's fantastic. Also, have family visiting from out of town, and they've hunkered down in the studio just in time to catch this particular broadcast. So we have ourselves a studio audience once again. You know, we like to have a little grouping, and we have one again today, so I'm very excited about it. By the way, one of them is 11, so there's going to be more swearing in today's show. I have a feeling, fuck, than ever before. All right. Let's put this off no longer. My guest today, I'm very excited that that he's here. I met him at a birthday party in Los Angeles many years ago of a famous person, and then found out that they kind of share a similar birthday time, and it was kind of his birthday too, and then that was weird because I was there to celebrate somebody else. But I found him engaging and funny and lubricated at this particular gathering. And then I started to become a little more aware of his work because I thought, this guy's ridiculously funny. I should find out more. And then, not too long ago, finally saw him on the boards. I'll go into more of this in moments, but wow! As awful as Oliver Platt was, which I've mentioned on the show before because I love Ollie, and any opportunity to bust his particular balls, I relish that opportunity, because he's so brilliant in everything else he does. But as awful as he was in the show, seemed drunk, Craig was brilliant. So there's the, right? Just awful?
Oh, no,
yeah.
no.
That's how I like to bring on my guests. And that, please welcome Craig Bierko. Now, please take umbrage. Let's start there.
Well, I'll take umbrage if you want me to.
Yeah, please. How much fun, by the way, was this show to not only do, but to also...
This one? I'm not some Terminator. I haven't done this and come back to experience it and save you.
Oh, yes, you have. Yeah.
This show, I'm in it.
This one right now. Hi, Craig.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Okay, good.
I'm very well.
I was more going for the shock value. Those weren't necessarily the sentiments of anyone.
You told me to be very quiet, and I was aware of
the fact that you were laughing?
10%. Well, first, I'm 10% larger than the world. So every time I moved, there was like Godzilla trying to creep out of the city or something. I was aware of trying not to breathe.
It almost sounds like it's made of rattan. Doesn't it, that chair?
Yeah, it
and
does.
yet not.
Sound like rattan.
First of all, thanks very much.
My pleasure.
For being here. I see also we've been unofficially sponsored.
By
the
yes,
Flying
well, I
Club.
saw you lift up the Starbucks.
And you
so
felt
I'm
comfortable?
enjoying it. Yeah.
You found yourself a cup?
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk firstly, if we may. Are you familiar now a little bit with the Larry King game based on that little example?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I'm a fan of the show, so I've seen it before.
Easy.
Too much? Too much talking on the talk show?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah. Which episode did you happen to catch so I can start apologizing?
There's no need to apologize. I enjoyed watching Matthew. All 9 parts. The Masada Perry I enjoyed watching.
Now,
Showa, it's important to record every moment of that man's life. Yeah. Is it over yet?
Do you know? In some ways, it's still going on back in Los Angeles. He could not, by the way, have been more interested in the numbers versus how they were for John Hamm.
Numbers?
During the interview. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
The live viewing eyeballs, which, by the way, we're up to 6.
Yeah.
That
I'm
feels
surprised
right.
you're still sitting here, quite frankly. People are this, and 5 of them are going, Brendan Fraser's put on weight.
Yes, they have and are. Your birthday's coming up.
Yeah, August.
Speaking of
birthdays, going to
birthdays.
be 45. That is 4.5 decades.
It is.
Of life.
And how
Best case scenario, it's half over.
How will you celebrate?
My girlfriend is well. I'm currently driving her crazy because she wants to assemble some people, and I had when I turned 40, my girlfriend and my mother rented a hall, and it was easily 60% larger than the friends I had managed to hold on to in my life.
Right. Easily.
It was like, the bean that, those little games where there's like that's what the room felt like. And every year I lose 5 to 6 of them.
That's the average?
Yeah, and then the only difference is when I was like 28, I was like, oh God, I used to have 20 friends. Now I've only got,
right.
15. Now it's, when I turned 40, it was like, I think I've only got like 8 friends. I think I know how to get it down to 6.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I don't disagree, by the way, in my own life, in my own experience. It is a weeding process.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has anything to do with other than the fact that people mostly smell. And at some point...
and I really don't have anything left to say to anybody. I worked very hard and I front-loaded.
Right.
And I'm just very tired.
Sure. This particular birthday, so there won't be a hall.
There won't be a hall. I
might
think
be
it's
a
just going
meal.
to be a table, you know, and some people. And
Yeah, not too dissimilar from how we actually met the first time.
you know, I remember that differently. I remember that because you came with a gift.
Yes.
You know, you did come with a gift, unless you were going to give Matthew 2 things.
I did.
But you also came with a card. And do you remember what you wrote on the card? You've never met me, and the card said, "Dear Craig, has it been a year?" And I thought that was funny.
You remembered that. That's impressive.
No,
Because
I don't-
there are only 6 other times when I might have got close to that funny.
It was very funny.
Oh, right
You said
on.
another thing because I was trying to quit smoking around then,
Ah.
and I was having difficulty doing it. And you said, "Don't worry, if you have a cigarette, you're a non-smoker who just had a cigarette."
Did I?
Was it?
Yes, that does sound like something I would have justified as a smoker at the time myself, because I was on again, off again.
Yeah, I think you said that you were. Anyway, it was helpful to me.
And
Did you stop? Did you pull out?
I did. I met with a gentleman passing himself off as a.
Was this the guy in Santa Monica who
hypnotist.
hypnotizes people?
Yes, who has a Buick of a wig
what
on
I
his
heard.
head. Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
My sphincter's never been the same, but for 2 years and 3 months, no cravings, no nothing, no replacement, no I need
Did
something
you,
else.
when you were being hypnotized, did you think, "I'm not being hypnotized. You can't.
Not only-
What Vegas lounge act does this man?" And then he said, "That's it. It's over." And then you realized you'd been hypnotized.
No.
What
All of
happened?
that is true except for I realized I was hypnotized. The whole time I was under, my head inside, there was a couple of conversations. One of them was just a guy with a banner just waving wildly saying, "This is horse shit."
You went to like the San Francisco production of Les Mis in your head.
Yes.
How
Yes.
did the 11-year-old possibly understand that?
She's a big theater buff. They just came from a show. Of
What
Les
show?
Mis. They went and saw Rock of Ages.
Oh, here, that's pretty great.
Yeah, we're going 3 thumbs up all across? Yes, all the way across.
Excellent.
But yeah, screaming loudly, "This is horseshit. I can't believe I'm supposed to be under right now." So much so that another voice kicked in and said, "Hey, idiot, it's on the record. Why don't you shut up? The guy's talking. Maybe he's going to help you." You know?
Oh, okay.
And so then when I came out of it, I really felt like there was never a moment when I was under. Never. And then I drove home waiting for the first craving. I'm going to kill him. It's going to happen. And here, 2 years and several months later, it's never happened. It's never happened. Not one craving. Nothing. Just weird. Just non-smoker. And how? Because the whole time he's talking, I'm looking at the Buick on his head thinking, how does this man make a living? Anyways, and you, how did you pull out?
I didn't think I would be able to do it. It was the stupidest thing in the world. Who starts at 33? I started smoking at 33. I had a girlfriend at the time who made it look elegant and made it just look like it was like a pettifor or something. And I kept taking drags off of it. And I didn't like the way it tasted, but I would get like, you know, and she'd go, "Don't do it. That goes away after a week, and then you've got a nicotine." And I also was fascinated, like, where do you feel that you want a cigarette? Where do you feel that I'd like to take something and light it on fire and stick it in the front part of my head?
Yeah.
What part of you needs that? She said, "I don't know, like kind of like right here." And I'm like, I don't understand what you mean. And then a week later, I realized, yeah, kind of right here, I kind of need this thing. And for 7 years, I smoked, and I really enjoyed the hell out of it. I really, really enjoyed it. And then I wanted to stop, and I couldn't. I have a friend who is a surgeon who had just lost his mother. But this gets even funnier. He had just lost his mother, and he saw me smoking outside of the gym because, when the blood is nice and thin, that's when the problem is you can't keep the cigarette lit because your fingers are so sweaty. A nice, delicious picture like that.
Yes.
And this guy, who's I've known all my life, is walking out, and he goes, "Oh, you enjoying a smoke? I'm going to watch my mother die." "Well, dinner?" Literally like that. And I was just like, I gotta stop.
Right.
I was working that week on Law and Order SUV.
Let's call it that.
SVU.
No, I think
SUV.
SVU.
No wonder I wasn't any good in this thing.
Right.
This car salesman didn't know what the hell I was doing. Cuffs, left, gone. Where are the cameras? It's.
Why does Jeff Goldblum keep driving away? That was the other part of the show.
I love Jeff. I really, really love Jeff Goldblum. Don't know what he's doing.
You could almost do a natural, without changing your voice too much, impersonation of. You have to
I
add
take it as a compliment.
8 gallons of affectation, first of all. Yeah, you got to start there.
Listen, I think everything. He's like. I'll never circle back to what I was talking about because I literally said, "God help me stop smoking," and then I haven't wanted a craving since. It was a power of suggestion. That literally that I was like, "I can't do this. If you're up there, please help me. I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to die this way."
Right.
I have not wanted a cigarette since. It was an amazing thing.
By the way, the guy with the Buick on his head does what your friend did in one sentence. He does that for an hour. There's 3 sessions, and the first one is just him talking. And for an hour, he does what your friend did in one sentence, where he just lays it out quite literally, all the things that smokers try so desperately to not think about. And he just goes, hey, idiot, remember when there was a lettuce scare? Like 6 people died from spinach leaf lettuce? They took it out of every supermarket in the world because 6 people died.
Yeah.
How many people died last year of smoking? How about 1 million? And for an hour, it's that. And then you go, God, I can't be this idiot. And then you just sort of, so yeah. Tell me about, I want to hear, first of all, quite honestly, here's what I want to hear, the first thing. This I love.
How many we have? 5? Is it down to 4? Because I swear to God, I'll blow my fucking head off. How many people do we have? I don't care. I know exactly what Matthew's feeling. It's a larger proportion. How many people were there? Lie to me. I don't want to know. How many?
17 more than before.
17?
More. Rybrook. I want to hear about Rybrook.
Oh, okay.
I really do.
And what do you want to know? Let's blow the lid off Rybrook.
Mm-hmm. I grew up in a little tiny suburb outside the San Francisco area, so I want to know what it was like in Rybrook. Was it the little...
Really? I thought you would have grown up in New York. You
know
strike
what?
me as a New York person.
This is over.
Is that it?
I can't even commit when doing bits with you. You make me laugh so easily.
I don't know why that would be.
I know. I forgot to mention that this was the guy who actually drops me like that, doing nothing. Rybrook, is it that little suburb outside? How far outside of the Manhattan?
Rybrook, well, there are about 75 different forms of rye. And rye used to be Rye, and then it turned into the town of Rye. There's the village of Rye. Okay. And then while I was living there, it's a upper middle class neighborhood that incorporated, still don't really know what that means, but how a town incorporates, but they incorporated, and we wanted to use our neighboring blue-collar towns' fire department and police department, but we didn't want them to have our tax benefits.
Nice.
So that happened. We became Rybrook. You can't edit any any of this.
No. That's the beauty.
Well, it doesn't get any more boring.
All gone. All 17.
All gone.
Yeah. They're driving away.
Can I?
SUV.
Hello, Mom.
Please.
While I'm not on AT&T, I did try to call you yesterday, and the phone is still busy, and you're the last person in America who has that sound on their phone. You need to get call waiting. And no, you can't Twitter on a rotary phone. You can't ask him any questions on a rotary phone. I love my mother, and that's why I can talk to her.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom actually watches this now every week. It took her, I think, 7 Sundays before I could explain that there's an internet on her computer.
Now,
and I love you too, Mom. Where are you? No, she watches
where's
every
the
week.
mother Pollak? Is she outside of San Francisco now?
She is. She's actually moved quite recently to the middle of the country, in a little place we like to call Arkansas, and that is it. So now let me ask in the small suburb, even though upper middle class, did you say?
I don't think that was a sentence, my friend. I don't think you can just pile on words.
Yes, I can. Your parents, I understand from my massive research, might have had something to do with you getting into this particular profession.
Well, my mother, for a time, ran the Harrison Players. We grew up in Rybrook. 2 towns over was Harrison.
Nice.
Naturally, she ran the Harrison Players.
Not in her own backyard.
They still exist.
Do they?
Actually, and my parents used to do shows there. My mom ran it for a little while, and I did. The first thing I ever did was I auditioned for a production of Gypsy. You had to audition in front of the town. It was like Mayberry.
No.
Yeah.
What do you mean in front of the town?
Well, everybody wanted to do the show. All the dentists and carpenters and rapists. They were all there. They're all in the church, and you had to, you know, my parents taught me a little thing to do I was a newsboy, and they had taught me a thing to do where at the end of the song I opened the newspaper. At the end of my little audition song, and I opened it, and it was upside down. Sure. And the whole town laughed at me. And here I am. and they left it in the show.
Seriously?
Always open it upside down.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was, you know.
And to this day, when they do the revival.
When I read, I'm secretly Hebrew. I read everything backwards.
Yes. You are secretly Hebrew.
I am secretly Hebrew.
By the way.
Yeah.
Your mom, born a Jew, and
Yes.
at some point said, I've had it with this.
No, they never ever practiced at all. They were Christmas tree Jews. They actually had the Christmas tree and gave up. It's just a much more delightful experience than like an IV drip. You'll get a little bit of something for 8 days.
Yes.
You know, and at the end, you'll experience a modicum of pleasure, but it will have happened so slowly that it'll just seem like any other day.
By the way, would you mind trying a little experiment with me?
Sure.
Let's the two of us, if we go to that fabulous two-shot, let's the two of us practice being Jews. Because that's you want to practice? Because that verb I never understood. Are you practicing Jews?
Yeah.
Let's see. No. Want to practice?
Sure.
All right.
I'll never be that funny.
Nice. Yeah.
I'll never be that funny. Why would I even... And yet I'm too scared to blow my head off. So I guess I'll just do what I do.
So you still have the Jew in you, really, clearly. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. All right, so after... What age, I'm sorry, was the newspaper upside down?
Oh,
that
10,
this craziness started?
Yeah, around 10 or so.
Why is that the magic number? That was the age that I started, was the age that over half the people I've asked about this started.
How did you start? You didn't get on stage with a mic at 10.
Bill Cosby's first album, The Noah and the Ark Routine. The name of the album, Bill Cosby's a very funny fellow, right. And it was The Noah and the Ark Routine, and my parents listened to this album on the hi-fi, which is, of course, a piece of furniture.
That's right.
Let's compare that to the Nano. And I saw them laughing uncontrollably, which was as frightening as watching them cry. It really was. It was that unnerving. What happened?
Was it the kind of laugh that doesn't exist anymore that you hear? I was telling somebody about this. You hear, when you listen to the 2,000-year-old man recordings, and you hear Jewish women laugh.
On the recording.
And it is no different than hearing a Jewish woman get shot. it's
yeah.
You don't hear it anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Was that what it was like listening to your
That didn't hurt, by the way, did it?
Yeah. We now have negative people. We have people who are aggressively trying to...
I'm not showing you those.
I'm not looking at any.
No. I know, you can't see. Yeah, it was very unnerving, but it made me want to be that guy, that voice that was coming through the furniture.
Yeah.
That made them do that.
Did you take his material and parrot back his material?
I was pantomiming his act at 10 on stage in front of strangers and getting crazy applause. The sight of a little precocious Jewish kid lip-syncing Bill Cosby, I was an instant
Oh, you
hit.
actually performed it for people?
Yeah, and it became my act all the way through maybe 16 years old, all through junior high and into high school, in front of assemblies of the whole school. And I remember he would clear his throat at one point in the album, and as soon as I cleared my throat in the pantomime, people just lost it, literally. Just, I remember thinking, even at 12 years old, man, this is easy. Now, naturally, I wasn't speaking. So once I had to write material, it got a little tough.
Well, do you think you wait a minute, you were playing the record and going like this?
Oh, absolutely I was. I was lip syncing.
That's what Jerry Lewis did. You were doing actual pantomime.
Jerry Lewis did it with Danny Kaye album, right? As my memory.
Yes.
My memory.
Yes.
Of it, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, and I'm pretending I know because I'm scared not to know. Why? What are you going to do to me?
You know
okay, I don't know what record he used.
It's weird, because that is the thing that ends the show. When you don't know, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. No, but I believe it was the Danny Kaye album, and I found out later that that's how Jerry Lewis started too, and so I started to not feel so strange. But yeah.
I wonder if you downloaded all kinds of stuff like timing and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's it. In a heartbeat. I learned timing from a master without even realizing, while I was playing this act for 6 years, from a master, truly. So where do you think your timing came from at 10 doing plays? Were you watching people on the Tonight Show or whatever, performers?
Yes. I've always liked watching anything that was funny, I was just absolutely drawn to.
Right.
My parents were hysterically funny. My brother is very funny.
Younger or older?
Older brother. And I surrounded myself with funny friends. And then by the time I was out in Los Angeles, I mean, comedy college for me was hanging around with Hank Azaria and Matthew Perry, David Pressman, who I believe is, maybe we've just held on to one more.
Yeah.
But very, very funny people. We all literally started talking like one another. And I know that I would bring that in and out of different auditions, and
Sure.
you know,
And that's
and I still listen for it. I'm still if I hear somebody who's doing something, I'm trying to think the last time that happened, but I hear well, it'll come to me. I can't remember anything anymore. But I hear somebody who's talking in a way that
Yes.
I've never heard anybody, or a sense of timing. I can't get enough of it.
I think there's a Zelig thing in most performers I've met, be it on stage or stand-up or film, that we do. We sense certain vernacular that starts to seem more interesting than our own, and certain cadence. And some people stop me still and say, you know, you're doing so-and-so. And I'm really, because I was just talking.
Yeah.
And
Well, I know you're a big Albert Brooks fan, too.
I can't believe you said that. Is it me? Am I lying down right now? Feels like it. Nemo, for you younger viewers. Nemo.
It's the absolute, there's no pause police here.
No.
So I enjoyed the 20-minute arrest.
Did you?
Oh, arrest and police. But I loved that
Yeah.
you could, literally, Jack Benny was like, I think that's enough. It's too long. But can't be long enough for me.
Yeah. I actually flipped out. I was watching, we're huge Paul F. Tompkins fans in our home, and he did a little pause on his show at the top, and I had already been kind of doing it every episode at the top of this. And then I also found out that people watching online thought their computer had frozen, and then it became all the more reason for me to do it. And then we saw Paul F. Tompkins doing whatever struck him and why he was doing it for like 8 seconds, the little mini version.
God, he's funny.
Yeah.
He's a very funny man.
Yeah, he really is. And there's like this whole generation that he's a part of that makes me laugh uncontrollably now. The Patton Oswalts and the, and I know there's probably 3 generations behind them now, but
Yeah.
that is an interesting thing, because you were a part of a generation in Los Angeles, of some of the names you mentioned and a few others, and that's a tough table to keep. You know, I don't know if you've heard the stories of Groucho Marx and the table that he used to keep of his funny people, Jack Benny and others. And they got to the point, Steve Martin told me this, did I drop that? Steve Martin told me that those guys got so jaded by each other's ridiculous funniness that when someone said something as funny as they'd ever heard, they would just go. They would tap the table with 2 fingers. That was, at some point, that's the only way they could respond.
I can't imagine that that's even possible.
Right?
So I've heard that, you know, I think it was Matthew who told me a story that he was making a movie with Chris Guest, who is very, very dry, very funny.
Oh, God.
Can pull him from left field, and
Yeah.
if you made him laugh, he would just go. He would. I think it was you'd say something funny, and he'd go, "All right."
Yes. Yes.
Oh no, it was. I see.
Yeah.
I see. Couldn't. I mean, it's worse.
Yeah.
But that was him genuinely enjoying himself.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
A fit of hysterics was. I see.
Yeah. That was a fit of hysterics,
Yeah.
by the way. And I know that Matthew also didn't care for when he said something ridiculously funny to me, and I would say, "All right." And then I remembered that Hank Azaria, again, told me that you and he came up with a bit which then became one of my favorite things to like a new hobby, which was you guys came up with a bit of Johnny Carson like in the 3rd grade or something?
Oh, that's true, except I came up with it. but he did the imitation. Everybody I imitate ever sounds like Hank Azaria imitating Johnny Carson.
Okay.
But not a good version of it.
Right.
Jack, you know, it's just awful. I have no ear for that kind of thing. But yeah, I said, do this. Do Johnny Carson hanging out. Johnny Carson had just retired.
Right.
We were huge Johnny Carson fans, still are. And I said, just him in Malibu, hanging out at Malibu High with, he's got nothing to do, so he was hanging out with 10th graders. And he just did, do you want to do it? Because you can actually.
No, please, just go.
How did you guys, how'd you do on that algebra trig exam? Shut up, Carson. Sorry. That was the thing that killed me, was that he wasn't well liked. Yes. And he was creepy. And he was the guy, he got all the shit.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
that he was that guy. Shut up, Carson. Sorry. Where are we going tonight? You gonna go, you know, just, you guys want to go see Troll 2?
Yes.
Shut up.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. That's the bit. And I love it madly. Tell me, if you would, about was the move first to New York, or was it to Los Angeles in terms of pursuing this professional career?
Well, I went to Northwestern University. At first, I went to Boston University to study journalism,
yes.
And I didn't like it. So I
Too much writing?
So a lot of writing, a lot of talking to other people.
Mm-hmm. And then, so speech was the...
I think I came from a community where everybody was going into something legitimate, and I wanted to go into the legitimate kind of show business, and for some reason that was news to me.
Yeah.
Cameras, but you're actually talking about real people, so there was a fusion there. But
right.
It was so boring to me, and I wasn't good at it, and so I went to Northwestern, and then which was in Chicago, and then I went to L.A.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
How long did you last at the Northwestern? Did you see it all the way through?
Oh yeah. No, I have a BS in speech.
No, you don't. And where is it?
Yes, this is all
BS.
Approved.
I see.
Yes, this is all academically sound, what I'm doing.
Right. That's the part I love. But when you got your degree and moved to Los Angeles from Chicago at an age of roughly 21, 22 years, was the thought that I'm just going to go out there and start auditioning for things? Was it crystal clear how this was going to work?
No, I had no plan. I just never had any kind of plan. I just, I would go to auditions, and God, I remember auditioning for some really crappy, awful, terrible things, really hoping I'd get them.
Right.
And I just wanted to make enough money to get off of a friend's couch. Sure. Which I did, and as soon as I started working, the first writer's strike, this was 1988, hit, and so everything, the whole Los Angeles just shut down. Yeah. And I remember, to my credit, I had done an episode of a show called Our House. This was Wilford Brimley's triumphant explosion onto the small screen.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's grandfather. That's all I had done, and the writer's strike hit, and I went back to New York, and I was working at a restaurant thinking, what if I'm recognized?
No, you didn't.
I did. I didn't have any concept of how many. Well, this was back when there was 4 channels.
Yes, arguably. Yeah. And how many episodes of Our? One. And I thought,
there's no difference between me and Steve McQueen working at this restaurant.
Were you practicing in the autograph at that point?
No, I was never that guy.
But I know how it works when you move to Los Angeles, coming from a world of stand-up. There's a workout venue in Los Angeles available to all stand-up, several of them, to keep working on whatever it is they do. But as a wannabe actor, did you immediately start into acting classes? How did you assimilate yourself to that, other than the couch?
I was never good at acting class.
Good.
I always thought, and I don't, honestly, I don't know how I ever learned anything, because I can't pay attention to anything. I mean, I've got the scatter cancer, whatever that is.
That's all they're saying, by the way, in the chat room.
Yeah.
Is that you can't pay attention.
I can't pay attention. And I don't have any memory of ever being told information and downloading it into my system and then using it. I don't know how I speak. I don't know how I add. I don't know how I know to grip things. I don't know where any of my knowledge came from, or any sense of time and space, because I never successfully wrote. And I learned how to face somebody and engage them in such a way that they would not, when it was time to ask questions, I seemed like I was on the edge of wanting to talk, but why let him talk? He obviously knows it. Let's go. Like, I literally deflected, but I wasn't thinking of anything. I don't know what I was doing.
Right.
And by the time I got to acting class, acting class, by the way. It just
Really?
sounds
ridiculous.
It's just a multitude of dead ends.
Yeah.
Acting class.
Just call it doing stop.
Yeah. Not really doing anything lessons, and
Yeah.
But and all I couldn't. You'd have 3 days to put together Ibsen,
Yes.
so I can't. It's hard to memorize this. I would just please let me get 3 of the lines right.
Right.
She seems really good in this. I don't know, and I never experienced anything other than that during acting class, and eventually I just stopped preparing stuff.
Right. And so speak to the early days of auditioning, because that's always a fun part that I don't know that people have a true concept, not just auditioning in general, but just the early days, the beginning of the process, where you don't even know how it works when you show up the first several times.
I think I learned.
'Cause that's where I learned most about acting was that audition.
Well, they sort of cut to the chase, They tell you if you're listening and you can watch how they're responding or not responding, you figure out what people really want. Yeah. And how many people are just so deeply confused and ignorant about they're just terrified people. Yeah. That a lot of times I found if I just don't act scared, I've got a very, very good shot. Yes. Because there's really somebody who knows what's going on has walked into the room.
Right, finally.
Well, hell, that was a revelation. But also, I found that the simpler the better, and also just I think once I don't know what this even means, but one time I felt like I had done the role. I had auditioned the way I would do the role, and the guy said, "I want you to that's great. Now just make another choice." And I just thought, inside I'm like Sinatra going, "Why? We got it."
Right.
So I took my shoes off and put them on his lap and did it exactly the same way. And from that moment on, it didn't get any better.
No, you didn't.
I did. Yeah.
How old were you when you figured that out? Because that's like the 7th level of chess for Spock.
I don't know, probably around 30 or something like that.
See, you had it. Let's be honest.
No, I just didn't think, it wasn't really in an arrogant way. It was, this is the guy you would hire. By the way, I got it. I got that one. And I don't think it was because of that. I just think...
Really, you don't think it was because you took out your shoes?
I don't think that guy knew what he was talking. He was like, this is a thing directors say, do it again. Because he didn't have another idea in his head. Right. Because he was a traffic cop.
He didn't give you notes, per se. He just said, make another choice.
Useless. I have one guy, I was doing some horrible TV movie.
Right.
Where I actually had the line I had to say to Jenny Garth.
Yes.
I had to say to Jenny Garth, I love you, and we'll talk about it later. I can't talk to you right now because I have to run an earthquake relief mission in China.
No.
I had to say that line.
No.
And I said to the director, I said, I feel like I'm an airplane. How do I not play this like I need help. He goes, sit on the lawn and help yourself. We got to shoot in 5 minutes. Sit on the lawn and help yourself. I said, there's a lot of people who just don't know what the hell they're doing.
Sit on the lawn. Thank God you were outside. Otherwise, that would have really made...
One of the few times the word lawn has been used in reaming out an actor.
Yeah. I'm going to, one of the things we like to do on this particular show, which you may have picked up from previous viewings, is include and involve our audience. Oh, yeah.
Mom?
Yeah. So let's see what your mom says. Oh, she is on Twitter.
You're
That's
kidding
fantastic.
Me. No, you wouldn't know that because you don't know what her last name is.
Well, I assume she's at mbarbash. No? She says, loved you in Music Man. Given Preston's performance, how did you work to make it your own? Well, I wanted to go to this question because not only did I want to segue into, I'm assuming, a huge moment in your life, but also if something's already been etched into history and the legend and lore of what the Broadway theater is, and then the notion of, no, I'll do this.
Yeah.
As any self-loathing performer can possibly fathom, what is the process of forget all of that? This is a thrilling opportunity, and this is my version, here's how it goes.
There was all of that. By the way, I have a contact lens. It's like, I think we're done. Like literally, like it's been like, I think it's been like 5 months. You know when you forget, do you wear lenses?
I know, but I know.
And it's just like, tired, gotta let go, and it just falls out. It's not, so if I'm going like this, I like you as a friend.
Okay.
But I'm literally like.
We are actually somewhat, and we've come to a bit of a transition. We are at a juicy point to take ourselves a little break. Should you want to do some excavating?
Oh, I'm fine.
Other than the winking, the eyes. You're saying? I'm giving you an opportunity to take.
Oh no, I'm fine. But is it time to stop?
No, let's go another solid 15. Okay. And then we're going to take ourselves a little break. So speak to that ridiculous process of staging Music Man. Now, had it not been done since?
It hadn't been done since.
That's what I thought.
I knew going in. You know, when I did watch, I watched Matthew, and he talked about that whole experience with Friends. He just kind of knew. He kind of knew.
Right.
That was the feeling that I had. I kind of knew that I was going to do this, and I never. I just kind of went in, and I knew it backwards and forwards because I'd been doing what you did with Bill Cosby with that album.
Oh, really?
And if you listen to my recording of it, I sound a lot like Robert Preston, and I think I don't read any of the criticism, but you can't help but have some of it come in, good or bad. I don't read it, but I really sounded a lot like him. And what I did was I just didn't fight it at all. And you have to kind of inhabit a part. You have to play it. You can't just do a,
right.
You know. But a lot of it, I wonder when I look. You know, a lot of the choices were just a lot of the verbal to the music of it was something that was so in my guts at that point that to alter it would have been. It would have taken a great deal of weird effort, and I would have felt contrary just for the sake of being contrary. So I just sort of like let it go, and it felt like something was coming out through me. That's literally the way that it felt. And yet I had to. We had an excellent group of actors up on stage, and it just so happens it's a really beautiful piece. I mean, it's musical comedy, but it's a deceptively dark. Musical comedy.
Yeah.
It has a very nice spectrum to it, and the woman who was directing it, Susan Stroman, just happened to had lost her husband, and had taken a month off, and then came back and was directing it through her mourning process.
Oh my
and
God.
We never saw anything. I mean, if I didn't know, I wouldn't have known.
Wow.
Which I just thought I have no right to complain about anything really ever again, and it was quite a lesson. And
she had come from the ridiculous success with the producers.
She was doing that next.
She was doing that
she
next.
was making a name for herself. She'd had some minor successes comparatively.
Right.
Everything is minor compared to what happened with the producers, but she was making a name for herself. But she was basically directing this production, which her husband, Mike Ockrent, would have directed. But he died. And so she was taking it on, and I saw one moment, Rebecca Luker, who was my co-star, sang a song, "Good Night, My Someone," you know that song.
Yeah.
And Susan Stroman, it was like the third day of rehearsal, said, "Would you excuse me for a second?" Came back, left for, it was just the three of us in a room. She came back like 10 minutes later, and her eyes were red, and she just said, "I'm sorry, continue." That was all I saw, anybody saw. And the rest of it was smiles and just focus, and I thought, I can't ever complain about anything.
No kidding.
It was an amazing thing very humbling thing to witness. And I don't remember what you asked.
Well done, sir. Was this the first time you were the lead in a giant Broadway show?
Yes.
Okay, and how much Broadway experience prior to that?
None.
Zero.
Yeah, no Broadway.
Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to speak to that for just a couple of minutes. How? What?
Yeah.
So you're doing what when the phone call says, "We need you in the Music Man," or come audition for the Music Man? How did this happen?
I think I was at my mom and my stepdad had a house out in Long Island, and we were out staying there. And she just called and said, "I'd love for you to do this." And I put the phone down, and I just went downstairs, and I went, "They want me to do it." And my mother said, "Oh God."
How long?
She stayed there for about a year and a half, and we had to chip her off the.
No, but
and I just
Susan
my
called?
immediate reaction was of course not. I need to call her back and tell her that she's a choreographer, and I have trouble standing up fast. I need to call her and tell her that she's made a terrible mistake.
Right.
And I did. I said, I don't know what you're going to do because I have no mobile ability. And I bump into things and someone's going to get hurt. You're going to have to put up a guard, a salad guard, so I don't hit somebody or take someone out. And she said, I know what I saw, and I'm going to surround you with people, and you're going to work so hard that you're going to feel terrific. And I felt absolutely prepared.
When she says, I know what I saw, what was she referring to?
I don't know. I don't know.
Come on.
I moved in a certain way that she felt this fits, and I don't know what that would be, but
Was it based on a moment from your body of work, or you actually auditioned for this?
I auditioned for it.
Okay, that was
I
the part
auditioned for it a
missed.
number of times, but there was no dancing in it. If there had been dancing, I know I would have been drummed out of the core. Like, there's no...
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
At one point during rehearsals, did the choreographer say...
They had no joke, they hired a person to work with me.
With you.
Yeah, just so that I could keep running things over and over and over again. And
how
by
many-
the time we previewed, I was absolutely ready to go. It's the hardest I've ever worked in my life, and I was absolutely ready to go. And I got a little bit of a taste of what dancers must feel like when they can completely let go. I really didn't do much dancing at all, but for me it was very hard.
Right.
And I had to move around with ease, basically. And once I got the steps under my skin, I just thought, wow, to really be able to do this must be the most amazing feeling. And
Right.
the dancers were like, shut up.
Well, no, but that's what I was going to ask. Was
They said it's an amazing, amazing thing.
in terms of a sense of accomplishment, that sometimes, if we're lucky, is the byproduct of a show, a performance, a film, whatever. So, somewhere along the way, there's this sense of accomplishment that manages to seep through the barrier of whether it's self-loathing or whatever the hell it is that gets you from here to there. So how much seeps through on this particular job, say after 6 weeks of shows, and you've really put it out there and the show is a success. At any point does it seep through, Jesus, I can actually do this now?
Yes, that seeped through, but it wasn't like it wasn't
Wasn't a
what I
revelation.
wanted it to be when I was not paying attention in high school.
Okay.
I had also had, it was my good fortune to have a lot of friends, or I shouldn't say a lot, but a number of friends who achieved an enormous amount of really huge success. And I was able to observe that it wasn't the answer to anything. So I had no illusions that it was, that all it felt like was very, very hard work. And we got a very, very nice response. That was nothing but pleasant.
Right.
And then I would go home and then at 11:15 I'd go, boy, I'm really having trouble with this girl. And
Right.
you'd think a big deal like me, a hit like me, wouldn't be having trouble with this girl.
Right.
It was the same head. I had to experience everything in my same head.
With the same head. There's no way around that.
No.
As it turns
no,
out.
and I've got an enormous, there's no way to get out of the way of this giant thing.
The melon?
Well, it's too big.
Well, I don't know. Well, you stand at what, 6 foot?
I'm 6'4".
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
Have you had that measured?
Well, that's been documented. That's scientifically proven. What with your rulers and your, how do they measure things? Is that a ruler?
Instruments of height.
Instruments of height.
I've got another theater-related question, if you dare.
Butch it up, pal.
All right. This is from, again, the Twitter universe, which so far you've managed to avoid, yes?
I don't understand Twittering. I mean, I think I understand it now. For a long time, I didn't know what was. I just thought people were vibrating or something. I didn't know what it
You
meant.
like that narcissist.
It's not narcissism to me.
Really?
No, it's not narcissism.
Today I had
It sounds-
pizza.
That's just stupid.
Right.
It's not narcissism. I don't understand. See, I understand. I actually believe, like, Ashton Kutcher should know every thought that goes through his head. If he doesn't, he's liable to drop something. He could cut his feet. He won't realize he's been talking to a tree for an hour. He needs to be aware of what he's thinking. I do, you do, but I don't need to be aware of everything that he's thinking.
Right.
And I'm so distracted with my own thoughts.
Right.
It's too distracting. It's too much.
Right.
Now you've got a Facebook. You've got my page. It's too much, and I don't feel like and I'm on Facebook. I joined Facebook, and it just feels like I'm standing in an elevator with everybody I've ever met, and nobody's talking to anybody. You catch somebody's eye, and they go, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm great. I haven't spoken to you since camp. There's a reason. You didn't impress me then.
Yeah.
But now I got to talk. I got to see your stupid name every day and talk to you because what I don't understand what's going on." And also the other phenomenon is I finally got my friends got me. They're like, "Just join," and I joined, and nobody's talking. Nobody's responding to me. So I've started responding to myself.
Nice.
I'll say something. I'm like, everybody's being funny, and then 10 people will accumulate and go, "That's wonderful." So I've just been
responding to yourself.
I'm face debating.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is I'm just face debating.
But that's why I avoided the Facebook. I had a
Are you not on it? You don't have the Kevin Pollak?
No.
Look at this.
Apparently, the Kevin Pollak Chat Show has a Facebook page. I, on the other hand, have
you don't answer.
I have nothing to do. I've never seen it.
Who answers it?
Somebody started it, and I don't have anything to do with it. I don't even know how it works.
That's the other thing. Is I had a MySpace page. I did it under somebody else's name. It was a name I made up. The Facebook page too. I don't know why, but it's all creepy to me. But I had a MySpace page, and I only told 2 people about it. So I left it. I did it it was funny to me for like 3 weeks, right. And then I forgot about it.
Oh, nice.
This was 2 years ago.
Jeez.
And I went back there, and there's a song. You have a song and it's just Little Boxes. You know that song, Little Boxes? Little Boxes. The song is still playing, and nobody's answered anything anybody's asked since 2006. And I just thought it's like an outpost.
Yes.
From Alien. It's just
right.
like out in outer space, like these, like what? It's all terrifying and creepy.
Well, here's the thing: it's either wonderfully comical or unnervingly creepy, depending on how you feel that day. Honestly, all of this.
I don't like those options.
You don't? All right. Well, here's another theater-related question, if you will, from @Stu Mark. Name a few actors with whom you'd like to share a stage. Other actors you've seen on stage that you've sort of had that moment of not just admiring or enjoying, but rather, oh man, he'd be somebody that might be, I think, fun to work with. Is there anyone that gives you that feeling?
Yeah, you mean, but specifically the stage?
No, let's open it up.
Stage?
Let's open it up.
Well, I actually did this benefit, which I invited you to, and you couldn't because you're making the big Kevin Smith film. But Fred Willard was there. And Fred Willard's Fred Willard's just it to me. I would love to do something with Fred Willard, but I can't imagine it would be possible to be anything other than the guy that Fred Willard is
making
in
fun
the
of?
scene with. Well, he's just, but I really, really admire him a lot.
What is it about him? What is it about Fred Willard, do you think? Is it the dryness?
I think first of all, I miss people who do something that only they can do. They may be copied, but really only they can do it. I think he does something that nobody else does.
Which is?
He plays a man convinced he's 15 IQ points smarter than he actually is.
Right.
And with such conviction, without apology, and with the rhythms of a truly intelligent person.
Right.
Do you remember him, like, on Fernwood Tonight?
Oh, God.
And it's like there's something on YouTube I caught where he's just going off about. He's discovered that a lot of presidents, a lot of former presidents are dead, and he wants to get to the bottom of it. And it's done with such conviction and without any sort of spin or anything, right. As though he's talking about something completely sane.
Right. Yeah, he did.
I also like his manner. He's completely unassuming and friendly and willing to talk to anybody.
Right.
And
that moment in Spinal Tap when he greets the group at
my God,
at the military function, and he says, that hair might not be regulation. I've kind of let mine go a little. I shouldn't talk too much. When that moment...
I'm joking, of course.
Yeah,
and he says, I'm joking, of course.
I'm joking, of course. Yeah, that moment really depicts, I think, what you're describing.
Yeah, and he's one of those people who should carry around a tip jar. And responsible actors should just drop $1 in there because we all steal from that guy.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Maybe less to the Starbucks barista and a little more.
Well, the Starbucks tip jar.
Let's talk about that.
They've got a... Are you kidding? I mean, that's like going and buying a Honda and giving the salesman a motorcycle. Are you fucking kidding me? Can I swear, by the way? Am I allowed to do this?
No.
This is the Wild West. No, we're out.
No, please. Because I didn't
Tipping.
swear
I
enough.
just paid $1,000 markup
yes.
on bean juice, hot bean juice.
Uh-huh.
And you have the gall to then ask, just if you feel like giving more, that we have a box of money there that you can... you know, contribute to.
The box of money must be to save children or to help someone find a loan.
No, it's for them.
Something for the person making the coffee.
I don't know. Well, there's something else going on. With
yeah, I think there might be.
They're going to emerge as a political party. It's going to be Starbuckian or something. The Starbuckans.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And why not?
Anybody left?
It
doesn't matter. They'll download this on iTunes, right?
Yeah. Do you know how many people
around.
are watching broadcast television live and not just TiVo and Hulu? And the numbers for the broadcast networks, now that there are so many of them, when they meet at their upfronts and they go for the sales pitches, it's almost like pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Look at these Hulu and TiVo numbers that we've got. Truly, it's pretty spectacular. We are at the...
I don't want to know numbers. Is that
1 hour and 2 minute mark, and we're going to take ourselves a little break. During this break, I want to give you another opportunity, if I may, to spy others doing the Larry King Show. Not in any way to suggest the right way, because there is no right way to do it. But those of you...
That's what they tell kids with learning disabilities.
Right?
Just try to read the book. If your mind wanders, that's fine.
Uh-huh.
Just hold the book for a little while. There's no wrong way to do it. He's going to be a woodworker. Woodworker.
Woodworker, by the way. Yeah, good luck with the woodworker. Enjoy this brief impasse or break, however you'd like to phrase it, and we'll be back in 3.47 minutes. I have all my guests do something called the Larry King game. You do a bad Larry King impression, you reveal something about yourself on the air as Larry King, as if you're doing the show, and then you go to the phones. And the name of the city you go to, it helps if it's kind of funny sounding. I will give you an example of the whole thing. I can identify any member of the Supreme Court with one lick of the taint. Angel Falls, Maine, you're on.
Our next guest is the woman I want to fuck, Dakota Fanning. Boca Raton, you're on the air. Is that right?
No more calls. We've got a winner.
Larry King here. These suspenders are the only things holding up my balls. Coming, Georgia, you're on.
One time I let a chick shove a brush up my ass. Beaver, Pennsylvania, you're on the air.
That's all I was looking for. To be honest with you, that was really it. Yeah.
Every time I say or hear Anderson Cooper's name, a little bit of pee trickles down my leg. Knoblick, Kentucky. Are you there?
I'm Larry King. Andy Rooney, Wilfred Brimley, and I all share the same cryogenically created torso. We're a human bobblehead. Monkey Brow, Arizona, you're on the air.
That's all it takes.
You're watching Larry King. I'm naked, I'm wearing a derby hat, and I'm on the internet. Ding dong, Texas. You're on the air.
I'm sitting in my own sauce. Wichita, hello. Wichita?
What?
Official Dr. Khan Larry King game entry. You don't marry 7 different broads and maintain a respect for the vagina. Smiley Bird Kansas, you're on.
And that's all the news that we have this evening from Kuala Lumpur. I do want to point out an episiotomy takes longer than you think. Kermit, Arizona.
And just a side note, Ever since my 82nd birthday, my poop looks like strawberry ice cream. Tastes like vanilla. Michigan Falls, Indiana. You're on the line.
In the fall of 1971 at an Arco station in Buttonwillow, I had my entire fist up Monty Hall's ass. So is that kind of what you're going for?
Go to the phone.
Butte, Montana. So there you go. I wanted to do a long one.
When I'm alone, I like to snap my suspenders. It gets my nipples hard. Crackatown, Florida, you're on the air.
Walla Walla, Washington, you have a question. I have a prostate the size of a small boy's clenched fist. Go.
Yeah. I find the human brain much too salty for daily consumption. French Lick, Indiana. Hello.
Yes, my first guest, Kevin Elliott Pollak. I shave my balls. Kevin, do you shave your balls? Also, Kevin is from Weehawken, New Jersey. Do you shave your balls, Kevin?
I don't know how that. First of all,
I didn't incorporate it. Did I incorporate anything?
If there were a prize, I would be taking it away.
Because of blueness?
Tune is still in the
Jason Antoon.
Is it? Are we live? Damn it, we are, I believe. So yeah, those are just a few examples of how you play the Larry King game. And you have plenty of time to prepare yours, sir. And how's that contact doing?
A little bit better.
Somewhere in the vicinity of your face?
Like I have a placemat on my eye.
Do you... Yes.
You know that feeling.
Don't I, though? Well, let me ask you, if I may, sir, when you portrayed Max Baer, I believe one of the few, if not, I want to say the only, but I don't want to be wrong, but he's the only giant Jew heavyweight champ in my memory. What kind of research did you do?
I did, well, a lot of research. They provided me with a lot of footage.
Right.
He was a very, very charming, very funny, very elegant
yes.
Guy, and he kind of, for the purposes of the story, got short shrift.
Yeah.
But and he and Braddock actually ended up becoming like very close friends, and they used to go to fights together. And and it's sad that nothing like that ever got mentioned. You know. But,
oh yeah.
That's the truth.
How long did he reign as champ, Max Baer?
I don't care.
I see.
Didn't affect my career either way. I just needed to get in those shorts. You know?
Yes. How much training?
I think I've a couple of years.
Right.
But also, you know, are you a fight fan?
Yeah, a little bit. Because my memory between Max Baer and Muhammad Ali, in terms of wow, look at the gorgeous leading man who's also happens to be the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah. Well, he had this killer right. He grew up in Livermore, California, and he grew up killing cattle with a sledgehammer on his dad's farm. That's what he did as a boy.
Didn't we all?
And
yep.
And that's a terrifying image. Just bashing a cow's. That's what you did when you came home from school. And and he had this killer right. And when it was dinner reservation at 9:45, it's 9:42. He'd just lay it on. He killed two guys in the ring. Right. One guy didn't die until the next day. Like his brain was loose and then detached the next day. And the other guy died in the ring. And it was I think that was, I'll drop a name. I got to talk to Norman Mailer. Mm-hmm. And Norman Mailer said, he knew another fighter who had killed somebody in the ring, and he said it was if you know fighting, you know it's the end of their career. But if you don't have the eye for it, you can't tell. But they're just holding back 1% because they're terrified, because they've got this rifle on the side of their body,
right? And
they're tortured. And I just thought, what an amazing, dynamic going on with a person. He really, really was afraid that he was going to kill Braddock. He knew the story, and they found out while we were shooting that he did actually meet with him and say, "Don't do this." And the scene was played more as an intimidation thing. But he really was genuinely concerned about him, and he was afraid that he was going to hurt him. And Braddock came out and he insulted him by just leading with the first punch, and he just kept turning him around, and he couldn't get it right off him, and he lost it.
Yeah.
And I think what happened later was he eventually lost he eventually lost to Joe Louis. He came back and he lost to Joe Louis at Yankee Stadium. He dropped to his knees, and he just said if people were paying more, they could witness an execution, something about that, but they're not paying enough. And it was the end of that era of prize fighting.
Yes.
And Joe Louis, I think, was the new version, the new style coming up.
Yeah.
Which I say without any authority. But I learned enough to know that like guys like Sugarman and all those guys that was there. I'm basically parroting them.
Right. And your experience working with Ron Howard, the one professional thing I believe we have in common.
What did you do with him?
A movie you probably didn't see called Willow.
I did not see Willow.
I knew that. Actually, my research had told me that.
Does it have every movie I've ever seen?
Yes.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. What's up with fried green
tomatoes? A lot of those videos, I'm just embarrassed to return.
Yeah. No, but your experience working with Ron?
Absolutely, the guy I hoped he would be.
Yeah.
He was the guy that he was. He was absolutely the guy I thought he was going to be. Very, very nice.
Genuine.
Absolutely genuine. 100%.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Very, very helpful, and I think a really underrated actor.
Right.
Like I think he was really good on like shows like Happy Days.
Oh no, God, yes.
And all the stuff he's done. And, I wish he would come back. Actually, I asked him about that, and he said if this right script ever came around.
Did he?
Yeah. I mean, he'd be great. I think he'd.
Because Jamie brought to my attention his work on The Simpsons as an arrogant drunk, playing himself as an arrogant drunk, which I thought was pretty brilliant as a going against type, and he does that hysterically. So that would be great if he came back. I found his enthusiasm to be pitch perfect and easily mocked. In fact, it sort of begged to be mocked because he was so genuine and so enthusiastic about the work to be done that day that I felt I had no choice but
to undercut him.
But to undercut it and undermine him at every moment.
Good thinking.
Yeah. Because
you really do hold all the cards in that situation.
Yeah, it's so weird that I ended up being less in the film than what was in the script, and have never worked with him since. But still, fun for me. Yeah, I loved him and am one of his biggest fans, and he sort of leaves, I think, everyone who he works with that feeling. You just want him to do well. Dear God, look after Ron.
I'm always impressed with the guys who they have their antenna up and they're listening to other people's ideas, it was very collaborative. I always felt like whatever my idea was worth, and not, also funny people who laugh when somebody else says something funny.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets really dark and someone's just kind of
Yeah, boy, the director really sucks.
The best directors are the people who I think are the most comfortable with themselves, and also there's something very intelligent about that's a pretty good idea, and it's my credit,
Yeah. I've actually, to the birthday boy Kevin Smith's credit, on this film, which is the first time he hasn't written the script that he's directing a movie, and he's claiming that's what's freed him up to say to the actors, literally whatever you want to do, within the context of the scene. However these words feel best for you, make of them what you will. And that's been a very liberating, in the wrong hands with the wrong actor or actress, that's really dangerous, I think, stuff, that sort of freedom. Because a lot of us like to be told, no, do this, What is your experience there? Do you prefer the camaraderie, not just the camaraderie, but rather the collaborative aspect of getting in the sandbox and playing?
Boy,
or do you want to be told what to do?
No, I like the collaboration. I like collaborating. I resent it when I'm. When I first started, I did, and I'm still. There's just not a lot of sitcoms anymore. But I remember being on a show, getting the show, and shooting the pilot, and that feeling of well, this is terrible.
Yeah.
This is truly just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking, well, this needs a little help here. It was very early on, and I didn't know what the politics of something like this were, and I asked somebody if this maybe wasn't a funnier line, and to my mind, anything was funnier than what I was being asked to say and to do, and we were all very uncomfortable. And I remember there was a click of just all the writers kind of looking over and going, "Oh, I think we might have a problem here." And it really wasn't anything like that. Yeah, and the lack of concern about it necessarily being funny or good, and everybody just wanting to hold on to the rock before you know everything collapses.
Man, there's a lot of fear in TV in that way.
And I can understand it. I mean, there's just I actually thought now that everything is diversifying so much, and there's Hulu and all this other stuff, that television would loosen up and get more creative to pull, and it's gone just the opposite way, I think.
For the broadcast networks, I think.
Yeah,
the cable networks
hardened even more, and it's just a lot of it is just it's so uninteresting to me. Also, anything's only 11 minutes long because it's all advertisements.
Yeah,
and I just think they have to tell a story in 11 minutes.
Yeah,
it's just it's crazy to me.
What do you watch?
I don't really watch
broadcast.
I used to watch everything. I used to watch everything on television, and then sort out what I liked. But I was aware of everything that was on, and now I go by billboards and I feel like I'm 111 years old. I have no idea who's who, and that there was another Bachelor show. There's a Bachelorette, which is the feminine version of that's the lady version.
Right. I had to be convinced.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I had to be convinced almost at gunpoint that they were still doing Survivor. I was vehement. I was vehement that was a falsehood.
And that's a really old one. My girlfriend watches the Kardashians, you know, and we were watching, and I just thought, look, I'm sure these are very nice people.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They're not nice people?
That's where you're wrong.
All right, I want to know.
What you're seeing on the show is not bad creative editing to make people look bad. It's, can you believe this? That's the thing. And don't you feel a sense of we're just the Romans back in the Colosseum with all these shows?
Yeah. Well, I can't relate to any of it. And also, people say, well, the sitcoms are dead. It's all reality shows, and it just feels like no. Everything is just it's all crafted into a sitcom. I don't think anything happened like this. It didn't unfold like this.
Yeah, I was part of unwillingly almost part of one of the early reality shows.
What was that?
First season
on the Philco network? Was this radio reality? What was this?
Project Greenlight on HBO.
Oh yeah,
right. And
that was an interesting show.
Yeah, it was actually, and I was part of the first season of it, and you know it was sort of like, by the way, these cameras are going to follow you around. And what? What do you mean? Well, it's just like, you mean like a documentary? You're just going to follow us around like a documentary? So we were doing the movie, and Bonnie Hunt and Aidan Quinn and everybody's getting along and having a yabba-dabba-doo time. And at some point I turned to this documentary crew and said, your show's going to suck. Who's going to watch this? We love each other. This isn't a show. And of course, much to their credit and genius, they created Shakespearean drama that simply did not exist. And it was in its own way, absolutely mesmerizing that they had actually crafted something, created something just from footage. Somebody went, no, there's a look. Aidan Quinn gives you a look. Remember he rolled his eyes 17 days ago? Let's attach it to this.
That's right.
Kevin says something funny, and we cut to Aidan rolling his eyes. Why would you do that? Well, it's funny. It's friction.
Yeah.
Now
Didn't happen.
Now they hate each other.
Yeah.
Right. Brilliant. Or not. Really? A question from the chat room. I like that. I like that very much. This is Almanacs.
Mm-hmm.
Think that's a name?
I'm on it now.
Okay.
I'm on it now.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are the side effects of Almanacs?
Well,
I don't remember.
take too much, so I'm thinking of going to, I think I'm going to Alan Almanacs soon, because I can't get off this stuff. I don't know what it does.
No? How did you feel being cast as the greatest slob in the universe? Do you have any idea what they're talking about? Something about a red dwarf.
Oh, Red Dwarf. That was a disaster. It was just it's horrible. Horrible. a horrible Americanization of a truly brilliant British show. There's a show called Red Dwarf. Have you ever heard of this thing?
Oh, I have heard of that, actually.
It's very, very funny, and it's just about, the main character is this guy who, it takes place in the future, and he gets drunk and ends up on a spaceship, and then gets into trouble, and they put him in stasis until the ship goes back. And while he's in stasis, something happens and everybody on board dies. And the ship is the size of like the Beverly Center, really, really huge. And he dies, and he's the only one alive on this ship when he gets up. That and a hologram of the guy he hated the most, because you sign a contract with the company that after you die, you continue to work. And other things about this, I won't even go into it.
But the British series is ridiculously...
It's ridiculously brilliant.
And it's called Red
it's
Dwarf.
revered, and they bought it over here, and boy, did America crap on it. It was just so unfunny. Casting me was a huge mistake, by the way.
Obviously.
Which you hear a lot of actors say. But it should have been like a John Belushi type guy. But America went, well, we'll do like a Han Solo thing. And I was like, well, I want to pay rent, so great, but it's instantly not funny, because it should be the opposite of what you've seen in Star Wars. This is a guy you wouldn't want controlling a spaceship. Look what I'm yelling about in my life. I'm 45 years old.
Hey, Almanacs, happy with yourself?
Is he, well, like he's going to answer, but...
No, I was waiting.
It's famously hated by, which is too bad, because I'm a huge Red Dwarf fan, and Red Dwarf fans hate the Americanized version of it, and with good reason. It was just terrible.
But people should maybe check out this Red Dwarf, this British thing.
The British one, they should go out and watch it. If you like Monty Python, you like Holy Grail and all that stuff, it's just brilliant.
Well, that was the last part of Almanacs' question, is he wanted to know if you were in fact a fan of the British version, and you've answered that.
I think we covered that.
Yeah,
Manox. Manox.
Let me ask you about living in New York, because you've clearly restationed yourself permanently here, have you not?
Yeah, I love it here.
Yeah, yeah. What is it that you love?
I don't know. I've always found Los Angeles. When I was a kid, it was like, oh, I want to live where I want to go into the Mannix episode. That's what. Then I thought, that's what I thought. This is where Mannix happened. And then that wore off after a while. And I had friends there. I had a lot of fun there. But there's something about it that it just doesn't, it never quite lives up to the Beach Boys' promise. You're like sunshine all the time. And while that's true, it's a bleach white kind of sunshine that feels like you're being beaten up by a bleach fist. That's what it feels like. And every time you drive, no matter, you can close your eyes and see where you're driving. It's so bright there. And a guy actually explained to me that it's, if you're a photographer, it's like several f-stops brighter than anywhere else in the world.
Jesus.
Like that part of that strip of the earth or something is like, it's too bright. I was like, that's it. It's so bright it feels like midnight all the time. I just don't like it. And
how about the driving to get anywhere in particular?
Well, I like driving. I'm a terrible driver. I'm a very, very bad driver.
Well, that's why it's fun to you, though.
It's all like a video game to me.
Yeah. Anything could
Glad
happen.
this isn't really happening. Whoops.
Right. But the driving to get everywhere...
I just liked it. I found it meditative, and you get to sit the whole time if you want. You get to listen to music. I like that. I never minded that. But I just, there was something, and also there's no, one of my favorite things about New York is I lived on 6th Avenue for like 7 years, and every time I'd walk down the same 5 blocks and go, I never saw this building before. And boy, look at that. I'm such an old man, you know. But I mean, I'm like, that's beautiful, and I've never seen it before. I understood everything there was to understand about Los Angeles in the first drive from the airport. I saw it all.
Yeah.
No buildings are higher than a big desk.
Right.
Until you go downtown, it's all all geared around show business. And for a while, and I still love, like, if you're lucky enough to be like driving into a studio, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people and stuff. But I don't think I would ever live there without having a reason to.
As in a job.
Yeah.
Right. Which kind of forces you.
Or running from the law, something like that.
It is the place to go when you're on the lam. No.
On the lam.
What was the last movie you saw that you really loved? This is a big, huge bet that I have.
Is that right?
Yep.
Does it have to be a movie that is just out?
No, sir. The last movie, motion picture that you saw that you really, really loved.
So can it be something that I showed my girlfriend that she has never seen before?
Yes.
Said the vicar. The Godfather. Did you win or lose?
I lost.
What did you think it was going to be? Modern problem, modern romance.
Modern.
Did you think that?
I thought it would be a modern romance.
Did you think of that?
No, but that was on the list.
Yeah. See how it sounds like Carson's drunk or something? Like,
yeah.
What do you just...
Right.
The tone is wrong, and why would he have that?
That is strange.
Modern romance, you know. Can't get it.
It's not as bad as you think. The bigger...
What was the bet, and who did you have? Was it with Matthew? Who did you have a bet with? You lying about having a bet?
Completely. Shatner or Spader?
Spader.
Because?
He
would look at you when you talked to him?
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I can't pay attention to anything. If I've got a long sentence, I don't remember the beginning of it, and I wander away. And, I don't watch any hour-long television. I was never drawn to it. It doesn't matter if it's good. It doesn't matter. I could just never pay attention to the storylines. And I ended up doing Boston Legal, and it was the weirdest experience to be on the other side of the glass, going, I don't follow. I don't know what's going on.
You mean you'd read a script and forget by the end?
Well, I just didn't. I wasn't attached to it. I have to be fascinated by something, I guess, on some level, and I just wasn't. A very, very good show, very smart. And to have people come, I mean, I'd never had people watch PBS come up to me in airports and go, it was good, very good, interesting show. I never had that.
Right.
But I remember when I did 12 episodes, and that's what you kind of do is if your character sort of takes, if it's feeling right to to Jerry, the man who writes it.
I don't know.
David Kelly, David E. Kelly. I guess, if everything is, and I guess it was, I had a feeling like, I think it's going to be 12 episodes.
Right.
So I remember Spader came out, and it was before Christmas. We were all going to go away for Christmas.
And you
had a car. I had a car. I had bought a car when I came out to Los Angeles, and he goes, did you buy or are you leasing? And I went, I bought it. And he went, have a great Christmas. And I just thought, wow, that's exactly how I would love to be told. I was like, I called my agent. I said, I don't think I'm going to make a job. What are you talking about? It was. I can't describe it other than tell you that was the conversation. He was a very, very nice guy. I like James Spader a lot. He was, and I think he's an excellent actor. And I think he was doing something truly creepy and romantic on that show I've never seen before.
Yes.
It was such a smart, great show. It was a pleasure to be a part of it.
I love the show.
Very
it's actually
challenging.
One of the few shows. It was one of the few shows that I watched religiously.
People love. It's.
And it's mainly because of the Godzilla Rodan thing that's happening between Shatner and Spader.
Let me ask you something. Are you a neat person? Are you a
I don't enjoy chaos, if that's what you mean.
I have a theory about these shows that are kind of procedural, even though that's not...
less procedural.
It's less procedural, but it does fall more in that camp. Is that there are people who like to have the desk tidy, and I'm not one of them. But those SVU shows and all that, these are for people who like to, they have a little mess, and in an hour you just get everything in order, and that person killed that person, and you thought it was that, but that actually sits better there. And that's the experience of the show.
That makes sense.
No, it doesn't. I lost myself.
No, that analogy makes a great deal of sense, and I think
it's satisfying for you to watch that show.
Stop. I think the reason why I enjoyed Boston Legal is because it isn't so much that. The reason I've never really caught on to the...
Is this what you did when you worked with Ron Howard? Because that, man...
You mean the disagreeing thing?
Yeah.
Doesn't work
I'm
for
your
you?
guest. I'm your guest.
Therefore, you're right?
I'm right.
No, you're not wrong.
That's all I require.
Yeah. No, but I think the procedural shows are exactly as you described them, and it gives the people a sense of that who like not just a tidy ending, but they like a story that actually takes place in front of them and ends at the end of the episode.
Right.
Not necessarily one that goes a whole season like a show like Lost.
Right.
So you've got to follow from beginning to end all the way through the season, or 24 that forces you kind of thing. One of the things that we love so much about Arrested Development was how they did those phony trailers about this is what's going to happen on next week's show.
Oh, that's really fun. I didn't even know that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
They would do a little sting for the next week's show, and it had nothing to do with the episode. You couldn't be more brilliant.
Well, I also didn't. I didn't know what my character wanted or anything like that because it's all. David Kelly, who's a genius, writes everything himself. Like while he's in the shower, like it's incredible what he does. His output is incredible, but I really didn't know. But there's really very little contact with him because he's writing all the time.
Right.
And the pages come down, and it's very old school, and it is one of those experiences of you just kind of do what you're. You do what you're told, and it's all very smart, and there's no reason not to do it. But I just kind of realized I don't know why I'm doing any of it. I don't know. I don't recognize any of the. But it was. It was a feeling of not. It just wasn't taking.
Right. You knew.
But other people were watching it and going, "I like that character," and I'm like, "Then why do you think he would want to?" Literally, like in an airport, that's sad to see an actor just going, "Hey, lady,
why did he?
Why do you think that guy is?"
Right.
Not going to take the case. Why wouldn't I take the case? Like literally, I had no idea what I was angry at.
You just knew how to make the moments interesting.
Say the line and try not to look into the lens.
Well, yeah,
say
but
it like you mean it.
But
don't say Candace Bergen. You look just like Candace Bergen.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
As much as you're thinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as William Shatner resembles. You know. No. It was really interesting.
Did you have much interaction with Shatner? Because
I had very little, and he was very nice to me, and he's very he is enjoying himself and is enjoying, I think, the
oh yes,
19th Wind.
Yeah,
it's just unstoppable, and the Sarah Palin thing.
Oh
now
my!
That he's doing.
Check it out online instantly, please. It's pretty fantastic. He did it on Conan. And it's quite viral at this point. You can watch the hell out of it. Yeah, and he's doing that at 78 years of age.
Yeah.
There's apparently no stopping him.
So I can't choose between Shatner and Spader. I knew Spader. I knew nobody really there, but I knew I had a couple of conversations with Spader. One of which was, how do you memorize all this stuff?
Right.
And I think one of the things he said was, "Oh, you're going to hate my answer." I said, "What?" He goes, "I have a photographic memory."
Right.
I was like, God, I hate that answer.
Yeah. That's the only answer I could offer.
He told me one thing. He said, "When you're addressing the jury, don't ever touch."
Nice.
Did you know that? Well,
no.
From what? Oh, well, you were sitting behind the desk.
I never got up. Oh, I got it. It's on
don't
the
ever
computer.
touch the water. No, that's fine, isn't it? To have water all over the computer.
That's why you don't put it there. Because you could accidentally spill it.
You just killed about 111 people, didn't you? Some guy in Long Island just flew through his ceiling.
No, all I really did was allow.
He came over here because he was taking that 20-minute break to refuel, right? I'll see if Kevin Pollak can make me laugh while I get ready to go back to Jelena's club.
Oh, nice. All I did was allow my better half, whose nickname is Depression Baby, to completely and utterly lose it. Right now, she wants to rip off my head and shit down my neck.
She's still alive. Listen, the upside is she might not. There's nobody in the control room without hair that's not.
Right. I'm going to move this over here.
Yeah, away from the water. Away from the water.
Everyone's fantasy. You know what? Someone to get me a towel would be the first thing I would ask for. Now, this is the great thing about live TV, literally, is that I'm going to set this on fire.
This is ham
CD
TV.
radio.
This is not...
Yeah.
They thought they couldn't get smaller than ham radio.
I just want to have something to set this on. You go ahead and walk that right in here. Hi, how are you?
Oh, yes. For those of you who are between jerks, let me just show you that there is a simple technique. And now you've got one square, right? You put that aside, and now you're ready to go. You're welcome, Mom.
Finally, you were able to demonstrate that once and for all. All right, so to really put a finer point on
happened?
it, I'm just going
to figure out what happened.
Let that breathe for a second. That is the beauty. By the way, it is one of the things I absolutely love about this show that people will eventually stop talking about, which is we could do the Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial and not stop while they put out his hair. While they put out his hair.
How about that?
The camera
guy kept going.
Yeah.
Heads on fire. I'm aware of it. That's how good a dancer I am. Those are my Jackson 5 moves, by the way.
Yeah. What's happening just then?
No, I don't know.
Because I know you've memorized those particular steps because you've seen that.
If I could, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen is early Jackson 5s when they just kind of, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Right?
If I could go back in time and had a choice between save Lincoln, go back to Indiana and work with these guys for 5 years just to be able to do that once and be the creepy white kid who's like in the Jackson 6 until it got weird.
Right.
I would have done that.
Yeah.
And
Lincoln should perish.
We're fine. Yeah. It's like it didn't. Yeah. And it was like the end of The Sopranos for him. That play was just like my feeling was.
Oh, thanks for helping me feel better about my 6-day-old computer. By the way, going bye-bye.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I found out on a plane once. I left my computer sitting in my seat, and a guy literally decided to take his bottle of water and pretty much just do this. I mean, he just knocked it over, but my computer was sitting in like an inch of water when I went to came back from the restroom. And
is this an air?
And his attitude, that'd be nice, because then it would mean it would air out. No, but his attitude was, oh yeah, did that happen? How about those people?
Oh, the people are just
and
so detached, so overly medicated, they're not entirely sure that it's not all happening?
Or no, just an utter lack of responsibility. Oh, did that happen?
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
like
that's your water.
I saw you do it. It wasn't me.
Yeah, and I'm trying to not kill him and also think, how do I get him to pay for this when he's oblivious to the fact that if there's damage to the computer, it's his responsibility to replace the computer? Because he was just, oh yeah, that was my water. And I said, really? Did you kind of knock it over? I was in the bathroom. I guess it did. I'm so sorry. So this happens, and then he just...
Yeah, he's fine.
So it was sitting in an inch of water, and I came back, and the waitresses in the sky, one of them said, you know what, just open it up and let it breathe because of the heat. It will actually dry itself out. And I said, she's been, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened, and the thing was utterly fine. So I'm just going to leave it open.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. What do you care? I've just got 17 more questions, sir, and then the job will either be yours or it won't.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
First cock. Okay, just a test. What's going for?
She's really watching. My mother's really watching. What happened? It was all going well for both of us, wasn't it?
I'm sorry. I'm most sorry that I clipped the last few moments of the Spader thing. I think it was don't put your hands here, and then you were asking, and I was demonstrating that I was sitting at the big table during A Few Good Jews. But he said, don't put your hands there.
What?
When you were in the courtroom with Spader, he said, don't put your hands.
Don't put your hands, when you address the jury, don't ever put your hands here.
Right.
A couple things happened. First of all, I was about to do my first addressing the jury big courtroom scene.
Right.
And a lawyer came in and said, just want to talk to you. There's some things that lawyers never do.
A real lawyer?
Yeah.
But
I'm going on in 5 minutes. I'm in my pancake orange. I got my little tissue here.
Right.
And a guy comes in and goes, hi, I'm a real lawyer. I'm sent by the producers, and I'm here to tell you about what lawyers do.
A technical advisor?
There's some things that you would never do as a lawyer. I'm just going to, as a technical advisor. He said, never ever look directly at the jury. And I went, well, the whole thing is I'm looking at the jury. He goes, well, you don't want to do that. I went, well, I don't know what to do then.
That's
I
all
literally
Spader
don't have
does.
anything to do.
That's all Spader does, by the way.
He said you're having a conversation and you're basically forcing them to look at the guy on stand the way you choose to have him represented. You don't address them. You don't do the whole. I don't know.
And again, well, that's Shakespeare.
How was that?
It's a little Shakespearean, but you're about to go on now in 3 minutes as he's halfway through this.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, and I said, well, what do I do? He said, well, just whatever you do, don't look at them because that's not what they. But what he didn't say was don't ever. You also don't go up and do, the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. So you wouldn't lean on this thing. But the reason you don't, I learned because I was there for like 111 hours shooting this thing because they needed my hands here. Was you just don't want to be in their shot because they'll shoot these people last. So that's why if you ever watch the show again, Spader never
goes anywhere near him.
He's floating around the center of the room the entire time just because he wants to go home.
Because he wants to go home. That's the genius.
And that's what
of
he
it.
said. That was what when he saw the address. He said, "Don't ever touch the jury box."
See, if a performer, in his case, Emmy Award winning performance, is informed and driven by the notion of
I want to go home.
I'd like to go home around 6 tonight. That actor wins to me. That you've just beaten show business.
Well, it looks like, so you're saying somebody else's words, but it looks like something. It's what you really want.
Yeah. What motivated you? I wanted to go home.
I wanted to go home.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I sense that now in your eyes.
Not at all. I'm
Okay.
having, this is, I've never actually, I don't think I've ever felt alive before. This is the most alive I've ever felt.
People are now trying to reach me thinking that my computer is dead by text. And they're saying that the movie is Kramer versus Kramer. I don't know what it means either.
The movie is Kramer versus Kramer.
Yep. I have no idea what that could possibly mean, but I do love that somebody texted that to me in specific regards to our conversation. You know what it is? It might have been the movie that I think you were going to say you saw last.
That's odd.
Really
that certainly is not...
Yeah. Have you worked with young Adam Brody? Because he was the one that
Adam Brody?
Yeah. Who's unbelievably funny in this movie that I'm doing.
Is he the guy? Who is he?
He's a young actor from a television show that most people first got to know him on.
And he was the person who thought, what is he, why are you telling me his name?
Because he's here now and I want him to join us.
Oh, is he the next guy?
Nope.
What's happening? What are you doing? Why, hey.
Because that's how connected to this.
Dawn Wells. Dawn Wells. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Adam Brody texts me to say that Kramer versus Kramer was the last movie you saw that you really, really enjoyed. But I think he was talking about himself. That's the last movie he saw.
Well, he's in a room somewhere that's not here telling you what movie he thinks was the last movie he saw, pretending he's the guy being interviewed?
I'm
what
drunk.
Are you doing? You're drunk. All right.
During the break, just a whole... No, I'm drunk with concern for the computer that my head is now spun off its axis. I really
will
do
not be able to
recover.
Yeah.
I really do think that it may or may not be time for the Larry King show, depending on how Larry King game, depending on how you're feeling right now.
I
do want to mention one other thing before you get ready. You are ready before you do it. The Huffington Post is now, because I'm very new to it, but apparently, please tell me more, maybe some of your journalism studies led you to this place where now you want to offer up some musings. Is that your involvement with the Huffington Post? Because I read this recent one and it was fucking hysterical.
Oh, thank you. You are the... Why would you think? I'm going to tell you something.
Okay.
You are the only person alive.
Yes.
Not blogging for the Huffington Post.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going with.
That's
the
truth. I love the Huffington Post. I wake up in the morning and read it on my iPhone.
That's how much you love it.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
And
it's my
it's
source of my news.
Series of blogs, basically, from according to
there's
everyone.
there's the news section that's actually written by writers, and then there's the blog section, which is just anybody who wants to
participate
can send something in, and then they either accept it or they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
How long have you been posting?
No, that's the only thing I posted
That's the
so
first
far. Yeah, I was trying to come up with something, and I came up with something that was. It seemed offensive, but also it expressed what it was that I wanted. They were taking when Walter Cronkite passed away, there was a news item that said that they are going to continue to use his voice to introduce the news.
Oh my God!
To give it a and there's all this when somebody dies, there's this reverential kind of, but I just didn't buy it, and I thought, oh, it's kind of I understand it, but it's. I'm more cynical than that, and just thought, no, you're doing it because more people will watch the news. It's not any big secret, and it seemed kind of wrong to me. And I just so I wrote this piece about it, how they were going to restructure. God, comedy's funny when you explain it, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll lead people to just Google Ghost Whisperer, Walter Cronkite, and you can decide yourself whether.
Yeah. Please do, by the way. Now, can people post comments, obviously?
They do. Yeah. I won't read them.
No, but the people who run the Huffington Post will read them.
Yes.
Trust me, there's somebody who's tracking this. So please check this out by Googling Horse Whisperer Walter Cronkite. right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the blog that that Craig wrote. Now, how much writing have you done professionally? Because I must say, of all the people that I exchange emails with, oh, good Christ, yours are ridiculously funny, and from a place of abject creativity, as in, I'm going to write this short story and then cut and paste it into this email, and because it has nothing to do with the correspondence, and it's just completely creative and like a little story. And how long have you been?
I've always wanted to write. It was why I think I ended up going to Boston University in the first place. Is I had an inclination to write. I just didn't want to do the news.
Right.
And but I've always wanted to write. And
are you? I mean, if not,
yeah. But I've the people who really do it. Well, you're a writer. You know. I mean, I know a lot of writers. It seems to me after you have an inspiration for a thought, then it's just about how much pain can you take. That's what a lot of writers have told me, that the inspiration is sort of like, when I first started smoking, I would go like this. Now it's not a good metaphor because there's no work involved with smoking.
No, but it's that initial feeling of...
That's not what writing is.
Creativity.
It's why so many, people stop after... the first 5 sentences, you get this great thought out, but now you've got to construct the story. Or after the first 30 pages, well, it's easy to set things up. Now you have to get into the math of it, and actually write. And I have...
Are there lack of attention span factor into it?
Well, definitely, for me, with everything. But I think it's just good hard work. I think there's an actor mentality, quite frankly, that I've fallen prey to and have to work hard. I have to fight the current, which is... Yeah, you fight and fight and fight to get involved in a situation where people will get you coffee and you say other things. You don't even have to think about what you're saying. You just have to prepare what somebody else has said. And it's a true art form, and I have a very high regard for people who do it very well. But I also want to do this other thing. It's just harder in a different way.
Yeah.
It takes, and it's boy, people who write, I mean, I think there's a reason why a lot of them are alcoholics, and it's a very lonely, painful thing.
Right.
But
I will tell you,
it's like you have to build up an endurance, and I'm very humbled by it.
Yeah.
And thank you for what you said. It's something I want to keep building on.
I think I would encourage you immensely to follow this particular rabbit down the hole, because it's okay to be tortured. It is a big part of it. You've already understood that part. Yeah. And then the next phase, by the way, once you get through that, is the little bit of a nirvana that you'll never experience as an actor doing somebody else's words. You're actually creating lives and histories and interactions and through and linears, sometimes not, that never existed before. And that starts to create a certain sense of accomplishment that actors, I don't think, ever achieve. So I would push you towards that.
Do you? How often will you get up now and perform? Will you go to a club and work some stuff out, work some ideas out? Are you drawn to that? Are you done?
After doing it this long, I don't have that thing where I have a constant craving. I got to go on tonight. I haven't been on in a week, but I continue to book live performances because I know that I need it in my life to get up on the stage and take the audience for a ride of my choosing for an hour, where I am the editor, the choreographer, the producer, the writer, the everything.
Well, I first got out to Los Angeles, which would have been in '88, so I saw you a lot, because I used to go to the clubs a lot. I used to go to Improv and the Laugh. I used to hang out at the Improv a lot.
That was my room.
Yeah, and you were great. It would be, it's too bad, because a lot of the guys that I saw, they just don't do it anymore.
The Paul Reisers and the...
Yeah, Paul Reiser, who this is somebody who really, really makes me laugh. It's like you. I don't know if he really has a desire to get up and do it anymore. And I don't know if he really feels like he wants to do that anymore. So if you don't, I guess don't, but it's...
he was one of the guys who kind of, or so it seems, walked away from it. You know, when Seinfeld went back to it, and in fact, Jim Gaffigan spoke to this when he was a guest on this very show. I will give him the
another unbelievably funny man who
ridiculous
can drop me. My God, he makes me laugh.
And he said that, you know, when Seinfeld went back to touring as a stand-up after historical success with his television show, so many people said, why? Why would he go back? And to Gaffigan and to many of us who do it, it was well, of course, he's going to go back, because it's in the blood. It's a no-brainer. It's where...
And it just seems like, despite what happened, which is an anomaly, Seinfeld is like
Yeah.
Mathematically, like, I mean, it's
impossible.
so improbable.
Yeah.
But after experiencing that, being in the eye of the hurricane, to go back and if that documentary is true, to be in, I love that scene of him trying to work stuff out, and it's not quite there yet.
Right.
Because it doesn't sound like jazz yet to his ear.
Right.
And I loved that he's back, and it's just as painful and to create something that works as it always has been.
Yeah, I don't think painful factors into his particular
Well, let me
process.
finish. Let me finish. Joyous.
Joyous pain. But yes, no question about it. It is that process that I would encourage you to go towards the pain of that light that seems to be ripping through your eyes as a writer. Just keep going towards the light, because just beyond it is a sense of calm that I've never experienced as a performer, and I've been performing my whole life.
But you've experienced it as...
This thing happens. When you hold that script in your hand and you read it once through and you don't, and it's, oh wow.
Yeah.
Every bit of that just came from my noggin, and isn't that, no matter what happens now, that document exists.
Yeah.
That thing is pretty remarkable, and I would encourage you to give that a go, because you more than have the right stuff.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'm sure everybody enjoyed listening to that. Well, nobody's going to download this. No one's going to.
I wouldn't know. He said, laughing at $2,500. Now let me ask you this. Wait, Jews.
Why?
Would you help us reach the damn near 2-hour mark with your musing of a version of and thanks, by the way, very much for coming by today. This really meant the world to me.
I love this show. I think it's really, really funny. I think you're really good at it.
Damn you.
And not a lot of people can do this, clearly, because you're the only one doing it, right?
Well, in this particular room.
All right, well, that's something, isn't it?
Yes.
That is something.
I love that I can commit to the moment with you for just a second, and then I'm laughing like a little girl.
When I'm sincere. It's so awkward.
It is. It doesn't feel right to either one of us. I've actually, last chance, first cock? Okay.
Really? Come on. This woman raised me by herself. A little respect. Watch me.
That was really for my mom, because that's the question that she wrote, and I had to ask it twice.
Okay.
Into your camera, when you're ready, play the Larry King game, and if you'd like, I'll reiterate the damn 3 rules.
Give me the 3 rules.
Bad Larry King impression. That takes you off the hook.
Oh, I'm there. Okay.
You're officially off the hook. It can sound exactly like a drunk Carson. Bad Larry King impression. And then, as Larry, while doing his show live on the air, reveal something about yourself that no one should know. That's what I believe is going to happen in Larry King's life. That's where this thing kind of came from. I passed through the living room and
I don't need your life story. Just what's the 3rd rule?
Yamma! Go to the phone, the name of the city,
Okay.
if possible.
Okay.
If possible.
Why wouldn't it be possible?
Just trying to take
Under what circumstances?
Trying to remove
tidal wave, I imagine.
Trying to remove pressure.
By tidal wave, I mean host destroying the
computer.
I almost said furniture. It was the only word I could come up with.
All right. When you're ready, Kimosabe.
Talking to Kevin Pollak, I've never not been tasting myself. Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
That's how it works, people. That's exactly how it works. Thank you, sir. You are officially relieved of duties and responsibilities of this here chat show. I look forward to seeing you again under this particular auspices, but more so outside of this room when we can dine and not have people watch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This is fun, and I really do mean it. You're great at this.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Sit there uncomfortably for just a few moments while I look into this particular camera and say goodbye to the 17 people who were kind enough to stick with us.
You're very kind.
And the 4 people
like
in this room. All right. He's right. There are only 12. Thanks again to Andrew Lipson, Gerald Mackey, and Jesse, if you want to say it correctly. Jesse, this is the part I love, Barocas. And also Mary Aaron and Jamie Fox, who also worked all the way through. And I'm so not looking forward to the conversation we're going to have about my computer in about 3 minutes. Thank you, all of the people who accommodated us here in our venture to New York, and I look forward to the next time we can sit with Craig Bierko and chat once more and scratch at the surface that is his ridiculousness. I will see you next time, and until then, as always, get out of my face.
Cue theme!
He's all